All right, so we're gonna do roughly a 30-minute mat exercise, mat routine with no equipment. So we're gonna just start on our back and our feet are hip width apart, upper body's nice and relaxed. And we're just gonna start with our breath. So we're really gonna focus on breathing into the back and the sides of the ribs. So feeling that rib cage expansion. And then exhale as you relax. And we're gonna do 3 more. Think about how as you inhale, your diaphragm goes down, and then exhale, your diaphragm naturally returns. Inhale, nice deep breath. Two more. And as you inhale, think of feeling the floor and feeling your ribs expand on the floor. Inhale. Exhale. One more. And then we're going to go into our pelvic tilts. So we start with our pelvis in neutral, hip bones and pubic bone level, lower abdominals engaged. And you're gonna exhale, melt your low back into the mat, and then inhale, return. Exhale, melt the low back into the mat, and then return. So we're trying to keep the glutes nice and relaxed. We're thinking about it coming from the front side of the body. As you're doing your pelvic tilts, you shouldn't feel any tension into your neck and your shoulders. You're just really trying to warm up that low back, stretch it out, get it moving. Exhale as you melt. Inhale as you return. We're going to do one more here. And then we're going to find our neutral. So hip bones and pubic bone are level. Lower abdominals are engaged. And we're going to go into our bent knee fallout, so hip rotation. And you're going to rotate open only as far as you can keep your pelvis level, and then exhale as you close. And then again, inhale, staying on the same side so that we focus on pelvic stability. Exhale, close. Inhale as you rotate open. Exhale, close. We're going to do 2 more here. Again, think of a heavy rock on the opposite side of the pelvis to help you keep those hip bones nice and level. And then we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Inhale as you rotate open. Exhale as you close. You're keeping the pelvis nice and steady, making sure that the other leg stays pointed up towards the ceiling. The other thing we want to pay attention to is that there's no bracing into the neck and the shoulders. We're staying nice and relaxed as we rotate open through that hip. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. From there, we're going to go into our knee folds. So again, we're keeping the pelvis still. Lower abdominals are on. Exhale as you bring the knee up to tabletop, and then control it back down. Exhale up, inhale down. So there's no movement in the pelvis, as in like my back is not flattening as I lift. I'm keeping that natural space underneath my low back. And if you chose imprint, you just want to make sure that you keep imprint as you lift and lower. And then other leg, exhale as you come up. Still trying to stay nice and relaxed in the neck and shoulders. And then resist it back down. Exhale up. Inhale down. We're going to do one more here. And then we're going to bring both feet to tabletop. So you can stay in your neutral. Some people like to imprint the pelvis. And we're going to bring one foot up to tabletop, then the second leg. Now we're going to go into our toe taps. So from the hip joint, you lower the thigh away. Exhale as you come back up. Inhale as the thigh moves away. Exhale back up. So again, I'm trying to keep the pelvis nice and steady. I'm moving from the hip joint. The angle of the knees stay the same. Upper body staying nice and relaxed. Inhale away. Exhale up. One more on each side. And then lower the foot one at a time down to the mat. We're going to bring our knees together, feet together. You can spread your arms on the floor and then let your knees go over to one side. Exhale, pull your belly button to the spine to come back in. Inhale, the hips can leave the floor, but keep your shoulder down. Inhale away. Exhale back in. Inhale away. Exhale back in. One more on each side. And then we're going to extend our legs out. And we're going to do our roll up. So our arms are extended over our head. We want the back of our ribs connected to the mat to make sure. So what I mean by that is if I extend my arms all the way, my ribs kind of flare. So I'm going to lift my arms so the back of the ribs still stay connected. I'm going to inhale, nod the chin. On my exhale, I'm going to roll through the spine to come up, actively reaching for the feet. Inhale as I start to go back. Exhale as I articulate through the spine to go back down. And then again, inhale as the arms come forward. Exhale as you roll through, actively reaching for the feet. Inhale back, keeping the abs on, and then really trying to articulate through the spine. So as I roll up and down, I'm thinking of peeling one vertebrae at a time up. And then as I go back, placing one vertebrae at a time down onto the floor. We're going to do two more. Inhale as the arms come forward. Exhale as you roll up. Inhale back. Exhale as you roll down. One more. Inhale. Big exhale to articulate up. Inhale back. Exhale down. Good. And then we're going to go into our series of 5. So we're going to bring our knees up to tabletop. So we can always leave our head down or we can lift the head. So you can nod the chin, peel the head and shoulders up. One knee is going to come into the chest as the opposite leg extends, and then switch. And I'm going to use my hands to actively draw that leg in towards me. I'm still breathing into the back and the sides of the ribs. Inhale for 2. Exhale for 2. Inhale and exhale. One more on each side, and then slowly lower down. So then we're going to go into our double leg stretch. So again, we're going to bring our knees up to tabletop. The head can stay down, or you nod the chin, peel the head and shoulders up. Arms and legs reach away. Exhale, circle the arms around, and then hug the knees into the chest. Inhale, you reach. Exhale, you tuck. So what we have to watch with this is that our head is not moving up and down, that the head either stays down or stays lifted as you do this exercise. Think of actively squeezing the inner thighs. Inhale out. Exhale, pull it in. We got one more. And then rest. Next, we go into scissors. We're going to extend the legs straight up into the air. If you choose to leave your head down, make sure you grab lower on your legs so that you're not straining into your neck. If you're going to lift the head, nod the chin, peel the head and shoulders up. Now you can grab higher on the leg. We're going to add a little pulse, pulse, and switch. Pulse, pulse, and switch. So the legs are actively reaching away from each other. You're drawing the lower abdominals in. Hips are staying nice and square. So we don't want to be rocking side to side. We want to be actively reaching through the legs, making sure that we're moving through the hips, not the knees. Last one, and then rest. For the lower and lift, you can interlace your fingers and place them behind the head. Extend the legs up. Don't worry if they're perfectly straight. Sometimes people's hamstrings are tight. Either way, we want to make sure that we're moving from the hips. So we can leave the head down. We want to make sure our elbows are in the corners of our eyes, just so that we're not flaring through the ribs. If you lift the head, nod the chin, peel the head and shoulders up. From there, thighs move away, exhale to lift. Inhale down, exhale up. Every time you go to lift the legs, think about using your abdominals to lift. So you pull the belly button in as you lift the legs up towards the ceiling. Inhale down, exhale up. Your eye contact is towards your thighs. Make sure that you have that inner thigh connection. Last one, and then you can rest. To finish, we're going to do our crisscross. So if you're tired, you can leave your feet on the floor and you can nod the chin, peel the head and shoulder up. One knee comes up to tabletop and then control it down, and then alternating sides. If you feel like you can, bring the knees up to tabletop, and then we can nod the chin, peel the head and shoulders up, and then go opposite shoulder to opposite knee. So we're flexing up and over, making sure, again, we're not rocking side to side. We're keeping the hips nice and square. We're making sure we're still breathing into the back and the sides of the ribs. Inhale and exhale. We got one more on each side. And then you can rest, control it down, stretch out, take a nice deep belly breath. And then we're gonna roll onto our side for our side kicks. So roll over, line yourself up on the back edge of your mat. Your bottom arm can support your head, whether it be straight out or with your hand. And then you're gonna swing your feet forward towards the front corner of your mat. You wanna make sure that your hips and shoulders are stacked, lower abdominals are on. Inhale as the top leg floats up, and then nice and slow back down. Exhale as you lift, and then control it back down. So you're reaching nice and long with that leg, keeping the lower abdominals on, actively reaching for the end of your mat. Only lifting as high as the pelvis stays stacked. Exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. We got two more. And then I gotta move my door so I don't kick my foot. We're gonna do our front kick. So sometimes people need to bend the bottom leg for stability, and that's okay. Top leg's gonna come forward, squeeze the bum and draw it back. Inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, reaching nice and long. So we're flexing through the hip, extending through the hip, but the upper body stays nice and still the whole time. Inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back. If you wanted, you could flex the foot and then point the foot if you can coordinate it. Then we're gonna hold the leg hip height and do our karate kicks. We're gonna bring the knee in towards the chest. Exhale, kick back and up. So I'm aiming for that back corner of my mat to get a bit of hip extension and to connect into that glute. Inhale as the knee comes in. Exhale as you kick it out. Again, actively reaching through that leg. I like to flex the foot because it helps me connect into the heel and get that back side of the leg. We got two more. And on that second one, we're gonna press out, hold, and go into our hip circles. So we're drawing circles with our foot. The whole leg is rotating, but the pelvis stays nice and still. Change your direction. And then you rest. You're gonna roll onto your back. The leg you just worked. Take that ankle, place it on the opposite knee, grab your thigh, and pull it into your chest. And you're just stretching out that hip, making sure you're still getting your post-lateral breath, breathing into the back and the sides of your ribs. And then we got the other side. So we're gonna flip over, do the other side. So again, we're gonna line ourselves up on the back edge of our mat, position your head so that it's comfortable, and then swing your feet forward towards the front corner of the mat. Hips and shoulders are stacked. We're gonna float the leg up and then control it back down. Exhale up, inhale down. You're only lifting as high as you can keep the hips nice and stacked, actively reaching for the end of your mat. Exhale up, inhale down. Exhale, lift, and control it down. Think about making your leg longer. I always like to imagine I have longer legs than I do. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. And then we're going to go into our front kick. So hold the leg hip height. Inhale as the leg comes forward. Exhale back. And again, you can bend that bottom leg if you need it for the support. Inhale forward. Exhale back. So we never want the upper body to be counterbalancing. We want to make sure that we're stabilizing through the trunk, flexing through the hip, and then extending through the hip. And again, you can add a point and a flex if you want to coordinate it. Inhale forward, exhale back. 2 more. And then we're gonna hold that leg hip height and go into our karate kick. Knee comes into the chest. Exhale, I kick towards the back corner of my mat. Inhale in, exhale out. As I'm actively reaching through that leg, I'm flexing the foot, thinking about reaching through the heel, getting that connection into the glute. And again, trying to imagine my leg nice and long as I extend. Inhale in, exhale out. We got 2 more. Hold the leg hip height, and then circles in the hip joint. And then opposite direction. And then you rest, roll onto your back. The leg you just worked is the ankle that goes on the knee. Grab the thigh and pull it into the chest, and then nice deep breaths. So we're gonna finish with some back work. So we're gonna flip over onto our stomach. First, we're gonna do spine extensions, and we're gonna have our arms out to the side. So we wanna find our neutral. We're gonna anchor our pubic bone into the mat. Lower abdominals are engaged. Legs are roughly about hip width apart. So you can kind of aim your toes towards the corners of the mat. That'll be hip width or slightly wider, and you can slightly turn them out. Rest your head down. Arms are wide. So watch, lots of people kind of go narrow with the arms, and then they're tucked into their shoulders. So widen the hands so that you're wide across the collarbone. Imagine a marble underneath your nose, and you're gonna roll the marble forward and then lift the chest up, and then control it back down. So as you float the head and peel the chest up, your eye contact is towards the front edge of the mat, and then control it back down. And then again, exhale up, inhale down. 2 more, making sure the lower abdominals are drawn up and in. We don't want to be pushing out through our abdominals to lift up. We want to have that stability in the lower back. Arms are going to come down to your side. Same thing, make sure the pubic bone's still anchored, lower abdominals are engaged. Float the head, peel the chest up, and just hover your arms at your side. And then control it back down. Exhale as you lift. Your eye gaze is towards the front edge of your mat. And then control it back down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Think about growing tall through the crown of your head. And then resisting it back down. Last one. Exhale up. Inhale down. Hands can extend over your head. And we're going to add in the lower body. So we still want to think pubic bone anchored, lower abdominals engaged. Float the head, peel the arms and the legs up, and then control it back down. Grow through the crown of the head and the soles of the feet, and then resist it back down. Still think abdominals are drawing up and in versus pushing your belly out to lift. Exhale as we lift. Inhale as we lower. One more. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Then we're going to open and close into star. So only opening roughly about the corners of the mat, so not too wide. So we're going to exhale, float the head and the legs up. Open the arms and legs, close, and then lower back down. So pubic bone still anchored, abdominals engaged. Exhale as you lift up, open, close, and then lower back down. And then again, exhale, lift, open, close, lower back down. We're going to do two more. Focus on growing nice and tall through the crown of the head and the soles of the feet. Good, rest. And we're going to do one more exercise here. We're going to do our swimming. So we're going to float one arm up and the opposite leg. And then the second leg is going to come up to meet it. And we're going to pulse for the count of 10. And pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then slowly lower back down. We're going to do that two more times. Lift one arm and the opposite leg. Second leg comes up to meet it. And we pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then slowly lower down. And one more time. One arm and the second leg. Bring it up to meet it. And pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then slowly lower down. And then we're just going to push back into our child pose. Stretch our low back. Take a nice deep breath into the back and the sides of those ribs. And then walk the hands to one side. Get a nice stretch. And then same thing to the other side. And then you're all done.